Yeah, definitely a slow Chargers news week. Unless you want to discuss Austin Eckler and this pity tour he's on, I got nothing against 30. Huge fan, actually. I just don't think he's doing himself any favors by continuing to discuss a situation that he has no leverage in. Not quite sure what the point of it is, but whatever, to each their own. I'm going to do the five a little differently this week. I'm going to discuss something that I think is a little underrated in some of the offseason movement or lack thereof, and why or how it could possibly be addressed moving forward, if they care. But anyway, it's me. I'm back. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and shoot the shizzle for a bit, shall we? Number one, inside out. Now, even being a former skills player, I understand and respect the fact that football is a trench first game. It's pretty much where everything needs to be aligned, or from an offensive standpoint, you'll have no timing or rhythm. And on the defensive side of things, you can get gashed in a serious way. And we know all about that, don't we? With that being said, Chargers still have some issues on the defensive side of the ball on the interior. And I don't think enough attention's being paid there. Now, if we're talking about just guys with sheer mass, there are a couple of names there. Still not the biggest individuals. Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson, Otito Ogbonnia, the latter two will be coming back off of injury. And then you got Morgan Fox as more of your interior pass rusher. So him being a tweener means he's not going to be an every down dude, and creates a little bit of an issue, or exposes one that already exists. And I'm not exactly sure what the team's going to do to rectify that moving into next year. We've seen the Chargers do a little bit to manufacture interior pass rush by stunts in games and inside linebacker blitzing. But when you have to maneuver guys around like that, it makes you susceptible to other things defensively, and it also limits what you can do on the second level and exposes you a bit there, especially if things don't get home the way that you're planning them. So, not quite sure what the plan is moving forward, but you're going to have to figure something out. Let's keep this party going. Transitioning over into number two, force versus finesse. Now, when you think about interior pass rush, certain names come to mind. You got your Aaron Donalds, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, and these are dudes who can just completely wreck the interior of an offensive line just by being quicker than the guys across from them. They also have some other elements like power to their game, so it makes them much more well-rounded. Let's say you don't have a guy who can do both. You don't necessarily just need one who can win with quickness. If you can get someone who can forklift a center or a guard into the quarterback's lap, that works too. Chargers also don't have one of those. The point here is to create any sort of pressure on the interior that you can. It throws off all offensive plays, whether it be the pass or the run. And I think that needs to be a focus somehow in the offseason. Now, I'm not sure what's going to happen in free agency. I don't think much more will prior to the draft. I don't see many options out there in free agency to add post. And this is not necessarily one of the drafts that you want to have to lean heavily on to secure some interior help. But here are some guys later on that fit the power profile that can come in and are young and have a lot of gas to them. Whatever works, man. I just need to see the Chargers make a concerted effort to add to that, because once you get the middle locked down, there's a lot you can do everywhere else. It's a recurring theme here. Moving into the 3 ski. Help me, help you. Want to know where else interior pressure is beneficial? Against quick game. Teams that like to come out and do a lot of 3-step QB drops. Talking about throwing into slants, hitches, quick outs, even some screens. Makes life a little bit easier, well, a lot easier, on a few players. Let's talk edge rushers, for instance. they don't have to work as hard to get home. If you got somebody on the interior that can blow a play up off the snap, the quarterback has to get the ball out even quicker than what they would in normal quick game, then your edge guys can just get their hands up in passing lanes, bat a few balls down, maybe create some turnovers that way. Want to know who really loves it though? Corners, especially against teams that run quick, because you can sit on all the underneath stuff. You can get inside leverage. You can jump a slant where the ball probably comes out faster than what the quarterback would want, so the receiver isn't even looking back for it, and those are easy house calls. Just makes life a lot easier on those guys on the outside, specifically on the outside. And quarterbacks for the most part don't like to throw over the middle when pressure's coming from the interior, number one, because depending on height, it's even more difficult to see. And also, there's a lot more bodies in the middle of the field, so you're taking a risk, especially if you're throwing outside of the time frame that the play requires. Yeah, give me all of that. And for the faux, salute Moses Malone, by the way. Escape room. Now, back in 3, how I mentioned shorter QBs hate pressure from the inside because it makes things really difficult to see over the tall trees and having issues with throwing balls into a lot of traffic. Yeah, all that. You know who else really hates getting pushed from the inside? Pocket passers. They ain't trying to be moved off their spot because essentially there are really no real options for them. They're not fleet enough to get outside of edge pressure, and 9 times out of 10, there's only a couple real options to make. You throw a bad pass or eat the sack. Playing a guy like Kirk Cousins, probably going to give you an opportunity to get your hands on 1 or 2 balls because it's just going to get a little too flustered and want to play hero. And hell, you can talk about the mobile dudes because you're going to see those as well. Mr. Mahomes, Josh Allen. You can get them flushed outside of the pocket, and your edge guys contain. They're going to have to do a lot of maneuvering to get that pass off successfully. And we've seen Patrick Mahomes work his magic over and over and over again. But if you're going to lean on him to do that more often than not, I like your chances on defense. Rounding out the 5 with flip the script. Now, if I haven't made my agenda clear at this point, let me try to say it as plainly as possible. I need the Chargers to figure out this interior rush situation, like yesterday. If you look back at the teams that Brandon Staley was a part of that had success defensively, there are some very common themes. 17 Bears had a young Roy Robertson Harris and Eddie Goldman, and also prime Akeem Hicks. 20 Rams, Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, SJD. Who are those guys for the Chargers right now? You now have Sebastian Joseph-Day. You have Austin Johnson. We haven't seen them together for a full season yet, but even still, you don't really have the type of skill sets I feel like collectively to mimic what some of those defenses had. So ultimately, what it all boils down to is how important is it to you?
Fully charged battery, fully charged. Unplugged charger.
No. And that was super rude. Anyway, as I was saying, it just feels like there's some more work to be done there. And whether or not it gets done, I think plays a huge part in what happens with this team moving into the 23 season. So, hey, if you want to be a trench team, for real, a line of scrimmage team, which our head coach has said he wants, then put your money where your mouth is. I mean, what you have left of it. But anyway, y'all, appreciate you, per usual, for listening to me talk about whatever the hell it is I feel like talking about. And whether or not you think I'm right or wrong, doesn't matter. You took the time out, and that's what I care about. So, with that being said, y'all take it easy, and I will be back next time with another 5 of them things for your head top. Until then, be cool. Catch y'all later. Gone.